So obviously popular with teachers is this idea of spotting AI generated work. So I thought I'd make again a very short training session on some techniques that you might want to use. So the problem is that AI is getting better and better and better on an almost weekly basis at the moment. And with that, its usage is increasing as well. So I know there's more students and teachers using it now than there was at the start of the year. And the question is, what impact is that going to have on education? I know one of the biggest fears for teachers is students using it to do their work and therefore not learning. And that's completely valid. So ways of detecting AI use. There are detection tools, so like Turnitin, NoGPT, there's quite a lot of them. They do exist, and you obviously are welcome to use them should you want to. But the key thing to understand is that none of them are 100% accurate. So what they do is AI, unless again kids can get past this, but default AI outputs are using highly common words. So they're choosing high probability words every time they do a word to see what the next word might be. So because of that, you can actually do like a statistical analysis on any output to see how commonly used the words are. High probability of commonality across the board means it's more likely to be AI generated. So that's sort of a simplification of how they work. Now, the problem is none of them are 100%. Like I said, the AIs are getting better and better and better at mimicking human language. So as the AIs get better, they become harder to detect. And there are also tools out there which the students can put their work in. We don't want to advertise them, and can make it more human-like. So there's actually tools now to bypass some of these checkers. So I think fundamentally, my advice is that we shouldn't use these as a way of actually checking. You can use it for your own information if you want, but I wouldn't hold the students to account for a percentage score they get off one of these checkers, because it might not be right. But if it helps you to give an indication of a bigger picture of other things you've looked at as well, I don't think they can cause any harm, but we shouldn't rely on these. Just because they've been proven, you can sometimes put human generated content in, it says AI, and vice versa. They're not 100%. So other things, Americanisms in words. So by default, a lot of these big AI tools we use, not all of them, but a lot of them are coming from America. So let's say, again, stick with ChatGPT as the main one. Because it's coming from America and because it's learned off the internet, the default language, while it's English, is American English, not British. So you might, if you spot a lot of Americanisms, American spellings, basically compared to British spellings, it is an indicator that might have had some AI output. Having talked with a group of students I teach, it is worth reminding people that anybody that is an EAL student or a board or anything like that, those students might actually default to American English, not British anyway. So it isn't always for every student an indicator, but certainly for a lot, where we've brought them up teaching them English spellings, British English spellings, sorry. If they suddenly start writing in American English, it's an indication that it's AI could have been part of the reason. Other things, changes in writing style is a really big one. So if you are reading it and there's sudden changes in tone, dictation, writing style, language, uncharacteristically complex compared to normal, anything that's a shift away from things you've read in the past from a student is a big indicator that it's probably not them. It's also worth reminding everybody that this isn't a problem that didn't exist before. So we've always had, when students do work out the sight of teachers, there's always been the problem of friends doing homework for each other, parents helping out because they want the kids to get a good score and they think that's useful, siblings, all of these. It's always been a problem, but now with AI, it's going to exacerbate this problem massively. So this problem is getting worse. So changes in writing style, comparing to previous work. So if you look at previous scores, you score a piece of work and it's a huge anomaly from previous submissions and things, that could be a signal. It doesn't necessarily mean a positive one, because again, if you've watched the prompt engineering video, the wrong input means the output's not very good. But any significant change, again, could highlight possible AI use. So comparing it against past submissions, look for sudden improvements or declines, check for changes in vocab and structure. All of them are just indicators. That's what all of these are. This is probably one of the biggest, is just compare it to supervised work. So what I mean by supervised work is work you've done in the classroom, things like mock exams and stuff like that. If suddenly a student's getting a really high score on something they've done at home, but then when you've had them in person in lesson, they're getting a little lower, that's a sign that they've got help, and that help could obviously be AI. We're nearly done. Reference verification. So AI, again, if you ask it to produce something with references, if you ask it in the right way, it can actually do references a lot better than it used to be able to do. But it has been known for making up some references sometimes. There was a famous case of a lawyer in America that it made up a load of like previous cases that helped support his claim, but it made them up. Like literally they didn't exist, and he got in a lot of trouble. I've got a feeling he's not a lawyer now. So it does have a habit of, if you don't give it enough detail, it tries to fill the gaps. So if as soon as I ask it to write a report, and it knows reports usually have a load of references at the end, and you haven't asked it to go off and get them, you might find some references that don't link anywhere and things like that. If it's got anything like that, that could be an indication. And the absolute biggest one, which I'm fairly confident there's some students I've taught over the last couple of years that have used AI, but this is the one that makes it stand out to me. I know it's slightly different in my subjects. I teach a lot of programming and things like that. But when I talk to the students, I know, because they can't talk about their work to the level of somebody that had done it. And it's a lot more obvious than they probably think it is. So have a chat with a student about their work, and you'll find that, like with anything, they can't talk to you about it if they've not done it themselves to the same level. So the solution, now this is the problem really. I actually think detecting use of AI is a lot easier than people think, okay? The problem is that proving it basically is the problem. So I think what we've got to do is educate the kids. We've got to teach them when it is and is not appropriate to use AI. And I've got some other resources on that as well. But in teachers, we just got to be really clear. And we've obviously got to check exam board expectations and rules for whatever you teach to see if AI is allowed. And in a lot of cases it is. It's just got to be referenced. But it's about making sure that the kids know that and the kids are really clear. So if you've got suspected malpractice, so you, like I say, proving is very difficult. But if you think that somebody has been using AI to do their work, I'm simplifying this as just speak to the deputy head, academic or similar in your school, and check the school's malpractice policy. I don't know why it's one-on-one, but yeah, they're the two things that you need to do. I don't want to write absolute specific rules on this training because, again, it could go out of date as things change. But the answers will be in those places. And that's it for detecting AI generated work. Hopefully that's useful.